Madam President, Excellencies, the condition of today's world is more complicated, more dangerous than ever, more uneven in its human development, more integrated, yet more disparate and desperate. At the same time, much progress and advancements have been made by humanity, and there's an enduring hopefulness amidst despair, a persistent sense that a better tomorrow is possible, even as catastrophes loom and dangers lurk. Your Excellencies, big power rivalries interlaced with personal vainglories and hubris are gravely unsettling the world to the advantage of not one single nation state. Civilized discourse, tempered with patience and calm, has given way to a bellicosity of language shouted across continents and oceans, designed presumably to satisfy nativist longings in the breasts of those who think that, despite their good fortune, relatively, they have been grievously wronged by some dark and hidden forces. Can none of these persons pause and reflect upon the question posed and answered by all the world's great religions, but in particular through the words of the Hebrew prophet Micah? What does the Lord require of us? To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. The intractable problems facing humanity cannot be solved by any one nation unilaterally. A mature multilateralism is required to address satisfactorily rampaging climate change in the age of the Anthropocene, to resolve the threats posed by nuclear weapons and their further spread, to pursue peaceful coexistence rather than conflict, terrorism, and war, to reform the system of financing for development, inclusive of a just climate financing, to tackle successfully the growing challenges of artificial intelligence, to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, be guided by the Global Digital Compact and the Pact for the Future, and to reshape global governance more inclusively. It is thus of the highest importance for this august body, the United Nations, and the overwhelming majority of nation states within it, to continue our efforts to persuade the powerful to act equitably, honorably, and multilaterally, to tackle efficaciously the extant and looming challenges facing the global community. Oftentimes, it is frustrating and disheartening to those of us who are committed to this necessary and desirable path of mature multilateralism, because our Herculean efforts seemingly deliver correspondingly negligible results. Nevertheless, we cannot give up. We cannot afford to get weary. We have no choice but to persist in this ever more urgent multilateral solidarity and cooperation as we pursue the political and economic spaces to make this world a better place for all humanity. Your Excellencies, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, like all countries globally, have been shaped by our history and geography, our nature and neighbors, our extant circumstances, and our dreams for a better future. For example, we carry the benefits and the burdens of our geographic location, near to the greatest economic, military, scientific, and culturally dominant power the world has ever seen. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is where it is. It cannot be lifted up and taken to Vladivostok or the mouth of the Amur River. Yet, as a free and independent people, we have the right to pursue peacefully and securely our quest for shared prosperity, without domination, interference, or intervention from any of our neighbors or from any power that comes from afar. Today, as I speak, my government and my people have another challenge from the nefarious activities of the agents of a rising or risen hegemon from another hemisphere, and from some greedy, unprincipled, non-state operators in Europe, acting in concert, seeking to pollute and interfere in our democracy, our free and fair elections, which are scheduled to be held later this year. Their conduct is unacceptable and hugely injurious to our people. Your Excellencies, the raging genocide and neocolonial oppression being committed against the Palestinian people in Gaza and the West Bank before our very eyes on global television and are continuing affronts to the elemental rights of the Palestinians, to civilized conduct, and to international law. How can one state, a member of this august body, act with such impunity against defenseless men, women, and children? Surely, the hottest part of hell is reserved for those perpetrators of genocide and those who are complicit in it. Over 200 years ago, the British committed large-scale genocide against the indigenous people of my country. And we are still suffering, enduring the historical legacies of underdevelopment therefrom. Similarly, the genocidal enslavement of African bodies in our Caribbean, in our hemisphere. It will take centuries for the pain, suffering, and legacies of the current genocide of the Palestinians to be repaired. We in the Caribbean are today demanding justly reparations for native genocide and the enslavement of African bodies, which occurred centuries ago. This tragedy, this madness that has been unfolding unabated in Palestine must stop.